Welcome back to Alyssa's Movie Takes. Today I'm going to be tackling The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which is a movie starring Andrew Garfield and Jessica Chastain as Jim Bakker and Tammy Faye Bakker, who were prominent televangelists in the 70s and 80s and had a major fall from grace in the late 80s as Jim was convicted of fraud on many counts, 23 counts of fraud and things associated with that. It is a really interesting look at what happens when money and power meet faith. And I was intrigued by the themes of it, especially how sympathetic they had a portrayal of Jessica Chastain's character, Tammy Faye Bakker. She played it really well. It reminds me a little bit of the movie Judy, starring Renee Zellweger, for which Renee won the Oscar a couple years ago for that movie, in that it looks at a woman in a lonely and unprotected situation where she's basically in a loveless marriage, and she makes up for that in other ways by trying to seek fame as much as possible and get the attention of everybody else, sort of to make up for the attention that she's not getting at home. Jim is not portrayed at all sympathetically. Andrew Garfield, I think, does a great job of doing a true crime story of really what drove Jim Bakker was his ambition and his lust for power and for other things. And it gives you kind of the heebie-jeebies to think about what was really going on at this network at the time. And it's not surprising because there are some truisms that I think are explored well in this movie, that absolute power and absolute money corrupts absolutely, and you see that with Jim. You don't know with Jim if he ever had a desire to be a genuine minister of the gospel at that time, or if he was really just power hungry and money hungry. But Tammy Faye, she does seem to come across as someone who has a genuine faith, but gets lost in the midst of furs and stuff and fame and attention. And I liked how they portrayed her faith, that they did show her prayers, and they had this great scene where Tammy Faye and Jim are about to really become famous and start out on their own, and they're having this fight, and they're saying, "God told me this, God told me this." And I know that this film is probably made by people who have no faith in Christianity, and maybe are making it for the purpose of sort of tearing it down. But it didn't seem to me like they were really coming at Christianity hard. They were coming at this version, this prosperity gospel version of it hard. And the fight between Andrew Garfield and Jessica Chastain as Jim and Tammy Faye, I thought had a real interesting twist to it, in that you're exploring the idea of even Christians have selfish ambition and vain conceit. You know, they might have genuine desires to serve other people, and Tammy Faye, I think, comes across as she had a genuine desire to help other people and to share the gospel, but at the same time, you're also struggling with your own sins and your own sinful desires, and it's easy to get the voice of God mixed up with those things. Which is this the voice of God telling me, I should go back on television right now after I've just had a baby? Or is it more just you need attention and you're lonely, right? So I think that they walked that line very well with Tammy Faye. Jim, I said, just true crime villain at that time. And Tammy Faye, it's a great exploration of what it looks like when a woman is in a lonely marriage, what can happen as a result of the insulation that comes from fame. And as Christians, I know most people on my channel right now do have a faith, but if you don't, you're welcome to the channel. But as Christians, one of the things that we need to be very aware of, and this might sound like a cliche, but I know that it's one of the most powerful things we could learn, because we all want to have a calling, and people might be called to television, or people might be called to the movies, or people might be called to preach. But is your character ready for that calling? Or are you trying to rush things? And then it's just going to fail. It's like even your ministry will fail if your character is not ready for that calling, because so often, and Jim Bakker is a great example of this, that if your character is not ready for, the platform that you have, that platform will crush you, and it will crush your soul. It will crush people around you. You will just plow into everybody around you and anyone who gets in your way. So I think it's a good movie to watch. Is it a little bit crude at times? Yes, it's a little bit crude at times, because they were trying to show what was going on behind the scenes, and some of it might have been implied, but they basically imply that Jim and Tammy got married so that they could have sex. I mean, I thought that was a little bit cheeky. And then they do show that their love life a little bit, their married love life, and Tammy at one point comes close to having an affair, and they show that too. So, it's a little bit crude. But I think it's a good movie to watch because we should all be aware that none of us are immune from getting power hungry or greedy, or doing things that we think are in the name of God, but really we're doing in the name of ourselves. And it's a good exploration of that. And especially since they do give Tammy Faye a chance, and they approach the subject as someone who really admire her. I think that the director, it comes across that he admires her, and Jessica Chastain's portrayal is amazing. I really think she will probably get nominated. I don't know if she'll win, but she definitely will probably get an Oscar nod in there, which is probably why she did the movie, of course. But Tammy Faye was a character, and she was also well known, and she was well loved, and she was complex. So it's a good movie to see. Just a case study in what can happen when you lose sight of yourself or when you become too insulated. So that's my take on The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Let me know what your take is below, and I look forward to talking with you soon.